Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome to
The swamp.
The swamp. We are over at the old Byrd farm today, and did a little bit of work back here. It's a little bit better. It rained a lot last night, but it's not as bad. We've got the majority of the water going down to the road, so let it dry out again, and we will. We'll be good. We'll be good to go. So Copper's being a menace to society as usual, and because of the rain, he had a little extra sleep this morning than he's used to. He hasn't.
Well, he's ready to go today.
Yeah, he hasn't been going since 6 o'clock, quite like normal. He's been laying around the house sleeping, so he's all wired up. So what I'm doing today, Robert has to go help some family members with some stuff, but we were talking about, fixing this smokehouse. We have this log here that's pretty bad. I think it's going to be the only one we really need to fix as far as the bottom logs, because most of them are good. But what we're going to do is I wanted to get the measurement to see how wide this 6x6 was, so I can cut another one on the sawmill with a few remaining logs I have left. Because I have a lot of them that are and just over 12 feet. Good. I know I've got some 13-foot logs sitting there.
This is I think it's a building 12 by 12, isn't it?
I think it was something like that.
Let's see what the width is here. We go from.
It's gonna be a little bit 12 by. It's like 12 by 14, like 12 foot 6 by 14.1.
Okay, let's see what it is.
Oh, there we go. 13 and a half.
13 and a half
It's about 12, like right at 12 and a half by 13 and a half.
Yeah.
Give or take. All right, so now I know what size board I need. And our plans are, we're going to take and cut out, we're going to cut out here. We're going to cut right here, and we're going to cut on the other side. We're going to scab on a bigger 2x6 up here to hold the weight all the way across, so we can remove this beam, and that's going to allow us to get in here with the bucket and the tractor and raise it. We're really not lowering the floor, we're just taking the floor back down to the original level, because this is just 100 years of stuff, that's rotted in here over the years and been put in and washed in.
This is the old floor. This is a good example of composting right here.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of that is the old floor.
Yeah. There's some of it.
We also noticed that it is leaning not as bad on this side. Well, the whole building. Let me see if I can find a path back here.
Watch the swamp.
The whole building, you can see, has sank down on this side where all this water and the wetness is. So when we cut our new beam, we will take some jacks and we're going to jack this side back up level with that side. Then we can replace our 2x6 or 6x6 right there. And at the same time that we're jacking this side of the building up, we're going to run a big cable around this entire wall and run it back to a tree and use a come along and fix the crookedness of the wall. So we'll pull the wall this way, lift the whole building up, should be able to get it pretty much straight, and then underneath of this 6x6 board over here, we're going to take some cinder blocks, some header blocks, something like that, rocks, big flat rocks, and put under those boards, which will get that away from the dirt and will prevent any further rot from happening.
So let me tell y'all a couple things about this. As I came out here the other day and saw this building leaning, And I noticed it for the first time more so than I had before. And I told Aaron, I said, I hate to open this can of worms, but do you think we can level this building back out? But I do want to say that with leveling this building, this is a very simple construction. This is a timber frame construction. It's comprised of 6 4x4s, of course the rafters. This is not going to be like leveling the old Byrd house.
Right, no.
We would not level the old Byrd house. For one, it hasn't sank, and I'm sure, well, we know it's a little bit out of square, but it hasn't sank to that this has. And this is a lot more simple of an operation than
right.
you would be trying to square.
Right, you don't have any floor trusses or anything like that, or floor joists. You don't have any floor joists, you know, to worry about. Wall, there's not extra walls tied in.
This is an extremely simple building. If you were to tear this building down and pile it up, it would be less wood than you guys have seen over the old, the Best Family Homestead piled up there. It'd be a very small stack of wood. Great old building, just one that we definitely want to preserve to keep around with the history of the farm.
And these two have decided to become really good friends.
They're buddies now.
They are crackheads.
And because, since people are going to see this video before they see my video, the reason that we were trying to clear this area behind us here is to create some kind of room, because even on 11 acres, I'm running out of room here.
Right. We need storage. And, you know, like I said something about it in one of my videos earlier this week. You know, why don't you clean everything up? Well, we're working on it. You got to have somewhere to put stuff. You know, in a construction zone, you got to have a place to put the stuff, your building materials, and then especially here, you know, a lot of the old building materials we're not going to put in a dumpster. Right. We're going to save it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one thing you have to remember at both homes is, this is right here. The old Byrd farm is a construction zone.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Construction / demolition zone. It's not a lived-in property. It is a huge work in progress. So, you know, to reiterate what Aaron said the other day, you know, every time somebody's like, "Oh man, you need to clean this, and this up," it's going to happen. But this is a construction zone. This is give me that. That's my bag. This is a construction zone. It's not going to be a pretty property yet, because we're in the process of doing that.
Yep.
And you definitely make
We are making progress despite some distractions around here. He is full of himself today.
Yes, he is.
Good Lord. So that's just a rundown of what we're going to be doing. We're going to head back over to the homestead now, and we are going to finish up the rest of our lumber on the sawmill, and should be able to finish pretty much all those logs today and tomorrow. And but I wanted to make sure we had that beam right there, and then we're going to get started back.
Interesting from a wood perspective. Here, this beam got wet because of all the rain.
Yeah.
And it's wicking up.
It's moving up, right? Right, yeah, because it was dry. I mean, it hadn't had a whole lot of water on it the past 100 years.
And so that's why, in doing all this, you want to keep things dry and make sure lots of sun gets in everywhere, the house, all this, because you don't want this stuff to do that.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Oh, and you guys watched us on my channel go and get all the pallets. So we are going to be using some of those heavy duty pallets and putting those in here, adding some floor joists and using those pallets. So we're basically getting a free floor.
Yes.
And then we'll cover back this side up, and we're going to have a nice dried in place to put tools and important stuff, you know, to store it, because that's one thing we don't have right now. Be able to get tools and stuff out of the house so that we have more room to work in the house as we start moving inside.
Definitely need a place for storage in here. I picture it with some beautiful old shelves in it, and maybe a little porch on the front. Just a pretty old room.
So more to come on that. All right, well, I hope I have a towel somewhere before I have to get him in the truck.
He's right in the back.
All right, guys, let's head over to the homestead. All right, everybody, so we are going to be cutting the 6x6 for Robert's Smokehouse. We got one picked out here that I know I can get a 6x6 out of. I know he needed just over 12 feet, and this one is 13, so that gives some room to work with. So we are going to get this one on the sawmill and get it squared up and cut us a 6x6 for an old smokehouse. Alright, so you can see this log is pretty crooked, but I'm still pretty sure I can get a 6x6 out of this. So we're going to set it up here and start skimming it and see what we're going to be able to get. Alright, so this one was just a little too crooked, but I'm going to be able to get a 4x6 out of it, which still isn't bad for this being a really messed up crooked log. So we'll go on time lapse. We'll go ahead while we got this one on the mill and get us a nice long 13-foot 4x6, and then we'll start checking over there for some other logs that'll work for the 6x6 for Robert's Smokehouse. Alright, so there's our nice 4x6. I'll get used for something else. And we're going to move that, finish leveling this board up so I can use some of that offcut for my fence I'm building, and then we're going to find us another log over here that'll work for that 6x6. Alright, so I've got one more right here that is 12 foot 8 inches. We need, I think it was 12.4. So this one will be tight, but I think it's one of the last ones I've got big enough to get a 6x6 out of that is long enough. So we're going to move some of these around, get this one loaded up on the sawmill, and get this 6x6 cut. Alright, so we got this one set up, and as you can see, about 8 inches at the highest. So all we're going to do is we're going to just skin this thing down so that we can go down 4 at over 6. So we'll have to play around with it a little bit to get the to get it skimmed off and nice and level, because you can see how tapered it is. But I think this one's a lot more straight than that first one, so I don't think there's going to be much issue getting this one to cut correctly. So now we have enough room here. You can see we got more than 6 inches. Already got the blade set. Now down here, you know, it won't be quite perfectly square 6 inches, but if you look at that original 6x6, you can see it's got two ends that aren't square. You know, we really only need 2 square sides. So this one's going to be probably a little bit better than the original one was. So now we are going to get in here and start cutting this thing down to 6x6, and then we can get it over to the old Byrd farm and take care of the smokehouse. So because I am pretty close, I am going to go ahead and set this to 5 3/4 instead of 6, just to make sure we're good. there you have it, folks. We got us a nice 6x6 here. Well, like I said, 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, or 5 3/4 by 6, and that should do excellent. Now you can see it's not totally square down here at the end where that log was tapered, but it's going to be close enough. We got square parts. Like I said, this log is a little bit longer, so we'll probably end up cutting it about right here. That's going to be more than enough, so not bad. Out of one kind of scrawny, slightly crooked, very tapered log, a nice 6x6 to get a 120-year-old smokehouse back up square and make it last for another 120 years. So I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned to the old Byrd Farm vlog to see us put this in and get that building straightened back up nice and straight and floors in it. Thanks for watching.